qui e poi due domande da vivo, prego.
Leandro Extroviti, Televisum, Oliver Stone, what is for you savages?
You asked me that already.
What is
Savage? I'm sitting next to one here.
Okay. They're beautiful savages.
Well, it's what hasn't been spoken about, which was part of the research that Oliver gave us, is the difference in mafias. I found that completely fascinating because I was always very familiar with the Italian mafia, whether it's the real, Sicilian style or New York style. But according to the research, the Mexican cartel has no limits on leverage, meaning let's say there's a potential for Italian mafia to spare women and children, but in the Mexican mafia there won't be any sparing of anyone. So there's less betrayal in that group because of the kinds of levels they go to. And it's one theory in this article that you've given me was that that's why there was less of the other kind of mafia happening, because it was too easy to reveal and kind of tell the truth about what was going on, versus in Mexico, if you told any truth, it's over in a very tragic way. And I thought that was interesting savagery in its own moral code. Interesting reading, anyway.
Selma, your Elena, so nobile, so bad.
What's the West?
Just that.
Yes, I was very, very bad.
Did you enjoy it?
Did I enjoy it? Yeah, I enjoyed having a great part to play off of. I mean, people ask me, what do you enjoy more, comedy or drama, or being bad, being good? I enjoy the one part that is well written, and that you get to play with good actors and good directors, and that's highly enjoyable when you actually get an opportunity to do something with a part where you can give it dimensions, different things to it. For example, for this one, I had a lot of fun being different characters with different people. Like I was one kind person with O and different with my daughter, and I was the very, very bad one with the people that work for me. And then I was the spoiled brat with my servants, how I needed something, and the tea, and the so I loved it because in a little time I got to
And a moral mother, and a very Catholic mother,
yes, with O. Yeah.
telling her there's something wrong with your love story.
But every single one of them was about loneliness, and I think it's what's heartbreaking about those characters, as bad as it is that even the attention from the servants that she needs comes from her loneliness. The relationship with O, pretending, to be sort of motherly-like, but at the same time so desperate for a friend, and the opportunity because there's another female presence. And with every single one, even with the horses that are her daughter horses, she is so lonely.
Ho due domande lì, una prego e un'altra.
Allora, per Oliver Stone, buongiorno. 3 premi Oscar, un percorso disseminato ovviamente da premi, da grandi riconoscenze. È passato da Senofonte, Lana Basi, Alexander, a biografie storiche. Quindi un percorso dell'animo umano, della storia. E poi nella società americana, nella borsa, quindi con grandi anche sempre riconoscimenti. Però forse rimane che qual è praticamente il segreto del suo lavoro? Cioè una curiosità imperante, una curiosità che lo continui a portare a dei progetti abbastanza ambiziosi che riesce anche a mettere a rendere, diciamo. Volevo sapere che cosa ci salverà a livello antropologico, a livello economico. Grazie.
But I never did hairspray. You must see John in the Hairspray to believe it. It's unbelievable. I just want to say a little side thing. It's just I loved Salma, and I wanted to work with her ever since a long time. But especially, I just want to point out Frida. It was an amazing movie, and she did an amazing job in that movie. And also, she produced that movie, and she suffered with it. And she's a fighter. As to my own career, my father pushed me in the direction of he told me, don't never tell the truth. You're going to get into trouble. And I guess that's what got me into trouble. But I tried to learn about life because I was born at a very important time in American history. It was the beginning of a new age, and I didn't know what was going on. I was educated in the usual conformist way. I believed everything for many years, and I learned, and that's what life is about, experiencing, raising your consciousness. That takes a long time. And I think I've understood more, and I'm trying to share that with my audience by book, by documentary, and by film. And it's very hard. It's a long journey. And this new documentary, this 10-hour, is really a major culmination for me. I hope it's well received. I will go on, and I'm fascinated by learning things. Thank you.
Prego.
Buongiorno, Claudio Fontanini, domanda per Oliver Stone. La resa dei conti finali al vecchio cimitero indiano è un chiaro omaggio al western, come ha detto lei. Volevo sapere se lei aveva un tipo particolare di fascinazione per questo genere e se gli era mai venuto in mente di girarne uno, visto che molti suoi film della sua filmografia possono rimandare a questo genere. Grazie.
Oh yes, I love westerns, and they always revolve around moral choices. And I thought, you know, this mesa in the middle of nowhere with six characters, very stark, and then the snipers are far away, you know, it's a mile away. We try to shoot it authentically, but every one of those characters is faced with a decision. When Salma turns around and asks Sean Taylor Kitsch, who's my rat? It's just her line of dialogue, who's my rat? She's making a very dangerous choice there. And when her daughter refuses to even talk to her after being freed by her, it's quite a shock to Salma. Salma's going through a rough afternoon, I'd say. And when she confronts Benicio, Benicio's got the drop on her, and Benicio seems to be attracted to her because he says to her something very obscene before he kills her. So there's a lot going on with all these characters, and I love the idea that it's a trick ending. It's not a trick ending, it's the romantic ending. It's the way Blake sees the story. However, the reality is that John Travolta is there. And that's a real, I mean, what Western ends like that, you know? I was thinking of Duel in the Sun, you know, Duel in the Sun is that very tragic shootout between Jennifer Jones and Gregory Peck. I certainly put music in, which was like Sergio Leone when they come up to the moment of shooting out, and I thought, of course, with Peck and Paul, Sam Peck and Paul, these are wonderful movies, but I think it was original. I don't see it resembling a Leone or Peck and Paul.
It's a western with helicopters.
But John gets it. What John is the guy. I love your face when John comes to arrest you. He said, "What do you say, Elena?" What is the line?
See, that's because I believe in sequels.
Well, Elena gets out of jail. She'll make a deal. John will make a deal.
Hello.
Everyone's alive at the end of the movie.
Yeah, we're going to parties.
Yes.
Probably what would happen.
So this is my Western. I may not be able to make one, but this is my attempt at one.
Hello, good morning. Question for Mr. Oliver Stone. Mi piacerebbe sapere, a proposito del lavoro che lei ha fatto con Benicio del Toro, che non è qui, e quindi chiedo a lei com'è andata, nel senso che è un ruolo sanguinario, sanguigno, difficile. Quanto ha creato lui, quanto ha creato Don Winslow e quanto ha creato lei? Grazie.
We had a lot of fun with Benicio. He is truly, he's an actor's actor, and Salma and John both worked with him, and they know the attention to detail. I think she slapped the shit out of him on one take, and he just said harder, more. With John, he came to kill John, and in that scene, and John is eating his sandwich, and Benicio comes up with the idea of just taking the tomato out and eating the sandwich himself, which was very his own brilliance and his improvisation. But what John said to me, interestingly, he said, you know, the thing about Benicio is he made me work with his eyes. I had to beg him for my life. I had to really sell him, because if those eyes would tell me that he wasn't believing me.
Yeah, I had to convince him, and that's how true an actor he is. So I was, struggling for my life, every word that came out and every look, and he was watching me like a hawk. And when he was convinced, he let me live, and that's what rose the. That's great. A great day on the set when these kinds of things happen.
How about the Benicio? I mean, this was not planned. She gives, Salma is raising shit with him. I mean, she's telling him some heavy stuff. And you will pay. And you will pay. And she slaps him. And who would have started to tremble like that? And who would have started to sweat and be nervous with her? That was very much Benicio, no?